All right, welcome back. We're diving into video 9 of our 10-part series, and today, wow, we are tackling a really big one, codependency and addiction. I've got to say, the central analogy in this chapter is, well, it's powerful, it's unsettling, and it might just flip everything you think you know about relationships right on its head. Okay, let's not waste any time. We're going to jump right in with a statement that is incredibly bold. It's meant to totally reframe the conversation. The source material isn't just saying that codependency and addiction are similar. No. The argument is that they are the exact same thing, just aimed at different targets. So when you make a claim that big, you've got to back it up, right? We have to start with the basics. What do we even mean when we say codependency and addiction? Let's look at the definitions side by side.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the language here. It's almost identical, isn't it? Both of them are about this unhealthy reliance on something outside of you just to feel okay. For one, it's a person. For the other, it's a substance or an activity. But that core mechanism, that external dependency that just spirals into harmful consequences, it's the same.
Okay, so the definitions line up. But what about the real-world behaviors? Does this parallel actually hold water when you look at how people act? Well, according to our source, the similarities are kind of chilling. It's not just a passing resemblance, it's practically a mirror image.
Just take a look at this chart. Compulsion? Check. Loss of control? Double check. The absolute misery of withdrawal? Yep, it's there. And the negative consequences that pile up? For sure. It doesn't matter if the drug is a substance or a person. The pattern, that whole psychological loop you get stuck in, it is exactly the same.
And it's really important to get this. We're not just talking about heavy drugs or alcohol here. The brain can get hooked on a whole range of things. Think about it: food, gambling, shopping, even work or the internet. That addictive pattern can latch on to almost anything. The brain just isn't that picky.
So this all leads to a really wild question. If a relationship can act like a drug, can you actually make one? Can you take something as natural and good as human connection and turn it into something addictive? The source material says yes, and it breaks down exactly how that happens.
So, how do you do it? How do you take something from nature and make it into a super potent addictive drug? It sounds complicated, but it's really not. It all comes down to a simple two-part process.
The two magic words are isolation and concentration. That's it. First, you isolate the thing you want from everything else around it. You pull it out of its natural environment. Then you concentrate it. You make it way, way more powerful than it was ever meant to be. Let's look at a real-world example.
Let's talk about sugar. Perfect example. You start with sugar cane, right? In the plant, the sugar is mixed with fiber, water, all sorts of other stuff. It's balanced. But what do? We isolate the sugary juice, and then we concentrate it. We boil it down until we get those little white crystals. And that refined sugar, it's so potent it hits your brain's reward system like a freight train. And bam, you've got cravings.
And to put that into perspective, get this. It takes 10 pounds of sugarcane to make just 1 pound of refined sugar. That's how concentrated we're talking. That's how you create a high that's so much more intense than anything you'd ever find just out in the wild.
Okay, deep breath. Now we're going to take that exact same process, that idea of isolation and concentration, and apply it to a human relationship. And you might be thinking, wait, what? How does that even work? How can you concentrate a relationship?
Well, when you lay it out, the parallel is kind of mind-blowing. Think about it. A healthy relationship is like that sugarcane plant. It's part of a bigger, balanced life, right? You've got friends, family, hobbies, a job, a whole ecosystem. But what happens when a couple starts to isolate? They pull away from that support system. And then they concentrate all of their time, their energy, their emotional needs, everything onto just each other. The relationship itself becomes that refined sugar. It becomes the one intense source for that emotional high, and the brain starts craving it, needing it.
And what's happening in the brain is just wild. This super concentrated connection floods your system with all the feel-good chemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, the whole cocktail. Your partner becomes the only thing that delivers that high. It creates this powerful biochemical bond that feels like an addiction, because as far as your brain is concerned, it is an addiction.
So, if we accept this whole analogy, if we really follow it all the way to the end, if a codependent relationship is an addiction, and your partner has literally become your drug, what does that mean for getting better? The answer is, well, it's not easy, but it is brutally simple. And that brings us to the final, really tough question this chapter asks. If the relationship is the drug, what's the only logical first step you can take to recover? Think about it. You can't reason with an addiction. You can't just cut back a little. There's really only one first move.
And this is where the source material leaves us. No sugarcoating. The instruction isn't complicated or gentle. It's just stop. To break an addiction, you have to cut off the supply. You have to stop using the substance. And if the relationship has become the drug, the only way out is to stop. Just stop. A really powerful and, provocative thought to leave you with. We'll see you for the final part of our series.